This is Fate, the 7th of November 2021. For more updates, please subscribe to YouTube channel. Preeta is applying the medicine when she suddenly stops, so Karan asks what has happened. However, she tries to mention how there is nothing, but he says how she cannot even properly lie, so asks her to first apply the medicine as they can talk about any other thing later. He mentions how he is also hurt in the back, and when she starts applying the medicine he felt really nervous. She looks him in the eye when he explains how he has missed her a lot. He leans forward trying to kiss her, however she stops him and tries to walk away. However, he pulls her closer, causing the medicine to be applied on his face. He then also applies it on her face before wishing her a happy Valentine's Day. She also replies, so they both touch their heads and try to live in the moment when suddenly his mobile rings. However, he cancels it, mentioning how it was Rocky. She asks him to answer it, however he says that he would talk later. Preeta insists when Karan asks if this means she does not want him to be with her. She inquires if it were a question when he agrees, asking her to answer. She mentions how he has to leave as it is the room of Sristhi and her. However, he mentions how he would not leave and stay with her. Rocky, opening the door, enters the room of Mahesh. She presenting him with a rose flower, wishes him a happy Valentine's Day and starts crying. She explains how she is not crying because he is not able to present her with a gift, but is crying because ever since Preeta left the house, Karan has stopped smiling. He has not shared any of his feeling with her, but she feels he would share his feelings with his father. Samir sees her talking with Mahesh in the room. Rocky mentions how he has rested a lot, but now his family needs him, for which he should wake up. She starts crying, so Samir leaves the room. Sristhi is sleeping in the hall when she gets a video call of Samir. She thinks that he might propose, so ends the call. She cancels, asking why does he want to talk in the night. He wonders what has gotten into her. He mentions how it is urgent when she is not able to comprehend, so he say how she is mad. Sristhi in anger calls him when they both in anger start fighting, and he says how she has not helped her remove the misunderstandings between Karan and Preeta, and he has seen Rocky talking with Mahesh and she was crying because of the worry for Karan and Preeta's relationship. Sristhi says how she would not tell him anything, then mentions how Karan and Preeta has ended the problems and she would also not tell him that he is in the room of Preeta. Rocky, opening the door, enters the room of Mahesh. She presenting him with a rose flower, wishes him a happy Valentine's Day and starts crying. She explains how she is not crying because he is not able to present her with a gift, but is crying because ever since Preeta left the house, Karan has stopped smiling. He has not shared any of his feeling with her, but she feels he would share his feelings with his father. Samir sees her talking with Mahesh in the room. Rocky mentions how he has rested a lot, but now his family needs him, for which he should wake up. She starts crying, so Samir leaves the room. Sristhi is sleeping in the hall when she gets a video call of Samir. She thinks that he might propose, so ends the call. She cancels, asking why does he want to talk in the night. He wonders what has gotten into her. He mentions how it is urgent when she is not able to comprehend, so he say how she is mad. Sristhi in anger calls him when they both in anger start fighting, and he says how she has not helped her remove the misunderstandings between Karan and Preeta, and he has seen Rocky talking with Mahesh and she was crying because of the worry for Karan and Preeta's relationship. Sristhi says how she would not tell him anything, then mentions how Karan and Preeta has ended the problems and she would also not tell him that he is in the room of Preeta. Samir says how he loves her for the news which she has given and is glad that Karan and Preeta have removed all the misunderstandings. He inquires if she saw him with her own eyes. However, she explains how she knows it and feels that they are going to celebrate the Valentine's Day. He mentions how the entire family was really tensed. Sristhi says how if they both had to patch the relation, then why did they create such a scene? She mentions how she would go and tease them because they have also caused a lot of problems. Karan tries to lie down when Preeta inquires if he is really planning to sleep with her, when he explains how she has a shirt of his and he would come back from the front door wearing it so everyone feels that he has come back. Preeta mentions how she has a better idea, and it is that he should actually leave and come back the next day. However, Karan explains how he no longer likes to live in the room as now he is accustomed to see her in the room, so when he is not able to see her then it gets weird. Preeta mentions how she is always the first one to wake, so how did he see? He explains how he got used to seeing the couch messed up. Preeta once again disagrees. However, Karan mentions how they would talk straight, and if she is not in the room then he would also not live in the same room. Preeta and Karan both sit together when he pulls her closer and she resists her head on his shoulder. He even kisses her forehead when Sristhi suddenly knocks on the door. Karan mentions how her family member have planned to break one of his bones. Preeta mentions how it might be Sristhi and Karan immediately hides. Sristhi enters the room and lies down on the bed, saying how she is not able to sleep on the sofa as it is really small. However, Preeta tries to send her out of the room. However, then Sristhi, after making an excuse of taking her pillow, is able to see Karan, so she finally leaves the room. Preeta immediately closes the door. Sristhi reaches the hall when Samir is calling her and he immediately pleads with her to not disturb Karan and Preeta as they should have time to spend alone. Then Sristhi mentions how she has come to know that he is with her. However, Preeta was looking really nervous and she could see the love which she had for Karan. Samir also says how her voice changes when she is happy. She then mentions how he should not come to propose, then realizes how she might have said the wrong thing. Samir mentions how she should not worry because he will never propose to her as she is not his type. He ends the call when she wonders why he said she was not his type. She thinks of sending an apology, however refuses to do so. Samir in the room thinks why he is feeling so bad as they both are not even boyfriend and girlfriend, so he then thinks of how he must propose to her on the Valentine's Day and she would not be able to say anything. Preeta asks Karan to come out. He asks why is she not busy, to which Preeta replies how she has seen him and now what would he do because in the Luthra house she used to sleep on the sofa. Karan asks where she would sleep now. She mentions how it is her room and she would sleep on the bed. He also lies down with her. She asks if he would sleep with her, so he replies how he is her husband and if she is worried that something might happen. Preeta gets mad, asking why does he has to talk like this. He replies how it is the only way she can remain quiet. They both lie down together on the bed. Preeta and Karan are both in the bed. Karan, taking the hand of Preeta, places it under his head. She asks what he is doing, to which he says how he is used to, because before marriage he used to sleep with Rishabh and would take his hand. Preeta however tries to take her hand but he does not let go. He inquires if she wants him to go away, however she explains how she did not say anything. He then, coming near, says if she wants him to be near her, however she still refuses. Then when is not able to say anything, she acts as if she is sleeping. She, opening her eyes, touches Karan, but just as he opens his eyes she immediately acts as if she is sleeping. He once again places her hand under his head. Then he moves his hand over her other shoulder when she also takes his hand in her arm. Before clinging it, Karan kisses her on the forehead when she also places her hand over his shoulder. But suddenly screams after seeing a lizard. Sristhi wakes up from hearing the scream. Karan asks her to be quiet. Sarla also comes out from the room. Then Janki also says how she also heard the scream. Sarla says how the thief might have come into the room of Preeta, and Sristhi then is shocked to see that she is standing behind her when she asks what is she doing, to which Sristhi mentions how she was in the washroom. Sristhi tries to convince how she was screaming when Sarla explains how she heard the scream from the room and it was definitely Preeta. They all enter the room. Preeta says how she is fearing what her mother would say if she saw him. Karan exclaims how nothing would happen as he is her husband. However, Preeta mentions how she would feel bad because she asked him to come in the morning, so would feel as if he has hurt her respect. Sarla along with Sristhi and Janki enter the room. They all both start searching it while Sristhi and Preeta stand in front of the door to hide Karan. Sarla threatens to call the police, however it does not have any effect on Karan, who does not come out. Janki then calls out exclaiming how she has found the thief. But when she realizes that it is Karan who is pleading with her to not tell anyone, she immediately changes her stance, explaining how she was asking if they have found the thief. Sarla responds how she thought that Janki has found the thief. However, both Janki and Sristhi then exclaim how they should leave as there is no one in the room. Sarla leaves. Preeta thanks Janki for helping her. She mentions how she knew that Karan was mischievous but never knew he would do something like this. However, she has liked it. Sristhi tries to tease Preeta, however she gets angry. Sristhi runs from the room. Preeta immediately closes the door. Karan sits on the bed, so Preeta asks what they would do now. Karan exclaims how they would sleep now, however Preeta disagrees and points to the other side of the room. In the morning, Janki is walking with the newspaper when she hears the doorbell, so immediately opens it to find Karan standing there. He hands her a rose after wishing happy Valentine's, hearing which she is shocked. He then hands everyone a rose, after which he sits on the sofa. Then Preeta asks why he got so late. Sarla mentions how when she went to get the milk, which is when Sharmaja mentioned how he saw that a car just like Karan's was standing in their society the entire night. Sristhi mentions how the car belonged to Karan. Then she explains how the car might have belonged to someone else, and then Sristhi asks Sarla to send Preeta as they both are in a hurry. However, Sarla scolds her, saying how she should not talk in between, after which Karan also says how he also has to leave for the office. Sarla mentions how she also has made a lot of things for him, however Karan insists, after which Sarla agrees and they both leave. Sarla mentions how Karan should wish happy Valentine to the person for whom he came to their house. Karina is with Daddy and Rocky in the sitting area when Daddy asks Karina if her friend from London has come back. Karina mentions how she has come but is in depression and needs a doctor. Rocky asks what the matter is because she might be able to help as she knows a lot of the doctors. Karina exclaims how she needs a doctor for her lip, but Rocky explains how she does not know anyone but will make some calls. Then there is a ring on the door to Ganesh is asked to open it. Karina is shocked to see that Karan and Preeta have come back to the house when Karina stops her, asking Karan why did he bring her because she was the reason her daughter's marriage was broken. Daddy stops her, saying how she should not worry because if a wife stays at her mother house then people start talking, so she might have asked Karan. He however says how she did not call and he himself went to bring her back. Rocky asks them both to go on to their room. Meanwhile, she will send a tea for them. Preeta, after taking the blessings of both Daddy and Rocky, goes upstairs while Karina exclaims how she has ruined the life of her daughter, so she would not let her live happily. Samir also bumps into them while they are in the hall. he exclaims how he knows everything about the night because he was in contact with Sristhi. However, he is joyed that such a beautiful couple came together on Valentine's Day before leaving, as Daddy calls him. Mahira, going to Sherlyn, explains how Karan has brought Preeta back. Sherlyn is shocked, mentioning how could it happen, as Mahira told her that he went there to fight with her. Mahira tries to explain, however Sherlyn says how she has no interest in hearing her saddening conversation. She explains how this is what Mahira said to her. She then, turning away, says how she is not like Preeta, who has a kind heart, as she even forgave her because of the pregnancy. Rather, her heart is like a stone, so if Mahira is nice with her, then she would be nice, and if she is bad, then she would be a lot bad than her. Ganesh, after bringing tea for Karan and Preeta, is smiling. Preeta asks the reasons, to which he says how they all missed her, and even Karan sir had stopped smiling. Preeta responds how she also missed them all. Karan, coming out of the bathroom, asks if she missed him. Preeta also asks the question, and they both argue over who would answer it first, which is when Karan asks her to reveal what was in her heart. Preeta then inquires why he is so dressed, as she thought that he was just making an excuse. However, Karan exclaims how he has to go on a meeting instead of Rishabh, and he never lies.